Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here. This is episode 3, playing as House Stark on Hearts of Ice and Fire, which is a Hearts of Iron mod for Hearts of Iron 4 Game of Thrones mod. And I am, as I mentioned, playing as House Stark. And if you did not see the first 2 episodes, there's a link in the description below that'll take you back to see episode 1 to see how we got to where we are. I'm going to seem a little fickle in doing this, but I'm deciding to make a change. And here's why. Right now, I'm taking myself down the path toward communism because I was thinking, well, that'll help me to ally with what's left of the free folk. We can fight the others. But that's a pretty naive way of thinking about the world of Game of Thrones, because that assumes that the rest of the world, the rest of Westeros, is just going to sit by while I become communist and go fight against the White Walkers. And that's not going to happen. They would probably take advantage of that and come after me. So I'm better off to either stick democratic or go to fascism, and I can help kind of fight off some of the other democratic nations. I think I'm going to stick with democratic. It's going to limit my options somewhat as far as what I can do, but it seems more true to what the Starks would do, and allows me to kind of build alliances and just try to deal with this Lannister-Tyrell Crown Lands alliance. So that's what we're going to do. It may take a while before anything happens that way, and we may still end up having to fight against the White Walkers as they come down from the south, from the north, but we'll see what happens. So what I've decided to do up here is actually just kind of build my own version of the wall south of the wall, assuming that the Night's Watch eventually gets overrun. I'm maxing out my land forts all along this northern border just so I can prepare for the White Walkers. I think I can hold them back if I have enough troops there. In the meantime, I've put my other 3 armies along the border of these 3 countries that I think I may eventually end up having to fight. And now we are on to more research. If nothing else, I think I should have a technologically advanced army that puts me in a decent position against these other forces, but we'll see. I just now got to enough government points to where I can make this change and pull Jojen Reed out of there. We're going to switch over to Roderick Castle as a war industrialist, and now we can go back to what little national focuses I have left. I've only got a few left, and I'm going to be kind of out at that point. All right, so I've got to deal with the communism since I built it up so high. So we're going to do anti-communist raids, which is going to give me a -10 to my base stability, but eventually most of that will recover over the period of 120 days, as well as will reduce the communism support. So that should help with that. And we're on to basically the last remaining national focus that I can do. I'm also ready to start building a 5th army. I don't have any available generals, so eventually once I get enough points, I can build a new general. But we're all maxed out on armies so far here. Small John Umber falls ill. Yeah, he's a punk anyway. I kind of enjoyed how he went out. So I'm down almost out of manpower, so we're going to have to think about making another change to my conscription laws to build up some more manpower. In the meantime, let's just keep on upgrading our weapons so we've got the most efficient army possible. I'm kind of curious to know what the others are doing. The Lannisters are mobilizing the Westerlands, and that's going to give them a boost to recruitable population. That's certainly not a good bit of news for me. All right, we're into April 1942 now, and I'm going to go ahead and make this necessary change to my conscription laws. I'm at limited right now. I'm going to have to, I can't go too extensive because I'm not fascist or communist, and there's not enough of what's going on around us. So that's going to be a problem. Kind of limited then in what I can do as far as building additional forces. I'm going to have to cut back on that and just stockpile weapons for now, I guess. So we're going to use those points elsewhere, or we're going to have to think about going after fascism after all. All right, good news. We've upgraded our infantry equipment. We are now to infantry equipment 3. And I need 79,000 of them, so I guess we'll start queuing up some of those now that we're just about caught up on tanks. I did eliminate some of the divisions I currently had queued up, which put some manpower back into the pool, just until I can kind of get caught up on some things. We're going to start upgrading all this infantry equipment in the meantime. I've also got to do some changes to trade to accommodate that. And then look and see where we're at on research. All right, that's helpful. All right, we're into end of June of 1942 now, and I've also put some fighter units in the field. I've got a bunch of air power down here now, close air support and fighters. Eventually we'll start working on bombers as well, but I want to make sure I can get air superiority, and once I have that, then I can worry about things like bombers. Okay, so I know she's actually dead because the Red Wedding happened, but we're going to go ahead and put Catelyn Stark into our laws and government area just so we can get that daily democracy support built back up. I hate that it's a Regency Council and I don't actually have a leader. Like, I would love for it to be Sansa or something, but maybe that'll be an option at some point down the road. In the meantime, I want to probably queue up some more silos so I can add additional fuel. I'm kind of maxed out on fuel right now, and I feel like once I do go to war, I'm going to need a lot of fuel for my planes, for my tanks. So we're going to get a bunch of new silos built, and those are going to be all behind my current work on the wall here. Free folk, looks like the war is either over or there's just no fighting actually going on right now. All right, the war's still going on. They've inflicted 2.5 million casualties on the others, but they just keep on coming. I guess that's what happens when you can raise the dead of your enemies who have been fighting. Okay, so the next thing I can do, since I'm kind of maxed out on manpower, is we'll start switching over what remains of our foot infantry in our infantry divisions and switch them over to mechanized. And eventually we'll do the same with the motorized, switch them over to mechanized. So that's just going to make me more mobile, more effective in the field. But it also means I've got to start building those mechanized units. So let's go ahead and queue those up. And we'll do that instead of the traditional infantry equipment that I'm upgrading right now. And we're going to have to do a whole lot of this. And it also means trade. We're going to need a lot of rubber, which is something I don't have a lot of right now, but what I do have is plenty of factories to do that. We've also got available planes and reserves because I've started to produce tactical bombers. So I can't create an air wing because I don't have any manpower. So at some point, maybe we'll have the manpower to do that, but that is not right now. Something I should have been working on a long time ago, but I haven't for some reason, is atomic research. We're going to need nukes to win the war in Westeros, and if I don't get them, somebody else will. So we'll start working on that. I'm really behind on that research, though. It looks like the Lannisters, I don't know what they're up to anymore, and I can't see what the Crown lands are doing either. So at some point, I'm sure we're going to get ourselves a war. I just don't know when. All right, I'm going to see what I can do to get something going here. We're going to start boosting democracy in all of our fascist competitors' lands. And we'll see what that does. Obviously, they're overwhelmingly fascist in these areas, and it may take a while for anything to happen. We've got communists down here in Dorne. The Targaryens are also communists, but they're way over here. Speaking of Targaryens, there they go. They're continuing to kind of follow along with Daenerys' storyline of trying to free all these slave cities and turn them into communists, but that's neither here nor there for us right now. Let me see what the Boltons are up to over here, because they're democratic. That's right, we did kind of deal with that problem already. So there's oil refining. We're going to work on our capacity for producing oil so that when we do go to war, we'll be in good shape. I'm about to complete Modern Blitzkrieg, which will completely kind of finish off my mobile warfare doctrine tree, and that should help as well when we go to war. All right. Well, we have completed research on experimental rockets, and we're going to start on rocket engines now. We're a little behind on time on that one, but we'll get that research done pretty quickly. That means now that I need to go to construction and get a rocket site built. Now, unfortunately, this is as close as I can get, is down here, but I think that'll probably do for now. We're going to move that all the way to the front of the line. And likewise, build nuclear reactors when the time comes. We've got about 90 days until atomic research is complete. All right, so it looks like the slave city of Marine took 5 states. I don't know if that is the war that the Targaryens were involved in. Let's take a look at the situation over there. Wow, it looks like the Targaryens lost that war because they gave up a bunch of territory here. So bad news for Daenerys. Things are not looking good for her right now. Astapor and Marine are just kicking her tail in. So too bad, so sad. Nothing I can do about that. She's communist, and she is way over here in Essos. I believe that's the name of this continent over here. So, all right, there's atomic research complete, as well as fuel refining 3. So let's go ahead and see where we're at. We're going to continue with this fuel refining. It gives me a fuel gain per oil and fuel gain from refineries. So eventually we're going to have to build some refineries as well. Let's take a look at construction speed on things. Right, and we're up to 1943, so we're going to get our nuclear reactor built, our research, so we can start building those as well. Still have no idea what's going on with these folks. I'm surprised they haven't gone to war yet. But looks like Democrats up to 28% in House Lannister, which is almost about to surpass the Communists as the second largest faction there. 28%, which is House Baratheon in the Crown Lands. And then with the Tyrells, it's up to 34%. So, sorry, Marjorie. Man, say this about Daenerys Targaryen. She does not know when to quit. She has gone back to war with the slave city of Marine. And I'm not sure how that's going to go for her. But let's take a look and see what the numbers look like for that war. All right, so House Targaryens only got about 100 to 150,000 fielded manpower, and they're up against a whole lot more than that. Hey, Walder Frey assassinated. I think Arya may have had something to do with that. So come home, Arya, come home. Maybe that's what's happening, is that maybe the news is kind of working in that direction, and eventually we're going to get Sansa back. Or maybe Arya, I don't care, somebody in charge of my country. In a move that shocked most observers, Walder Frey, the leader of the twins, was found dead this morning in his chambers. His throat was sliced up with meticulous precision in a way that is reminiscent of the faceless assassins from House of Black and White. Yeah, that might be who it was. All right, so I don't think the Targaryens are going to win this war against Meereen, Yunkai, and Astapor unless the dragons do something about that. I guess we'll see. All right, this time the Targaryens and Meereen have signed a white peace, so I'm guessing nothing changed that time. At least the Targaryens got out of that one without losing any more territory. In the meantime, February 1944, there's our rocket engines, and not a lot changing right now with the boosting that I'm doing. Let's go ahead and work on jet engines. That's going to be a nice upgrade for our aircraft. So it seems Sansa is available, and I probably talked about this in the last episode, but I need to be fascist in order to get Sansa. So, I've kind of bounced around. House Tully seeks to join the Northern Kingdoms Union. I thought they already had, but yeah, come on in, folks. Did they maybe get a different ruler? I don't know what's going on there. Nope. It's still Brynden Tully, the Blackfish. So, you know what? As much as I've bounced around with all of this, maybe I have to go fascist after all, because it just feels like there's not a lot happening. So I need to do something to kind of get world events going, and fascism may be the way to do that. Communism just isn't viable because there aren't any other communists in Westeros besides the Night's Watch, or the Free Folk, and that's just not going to help me. So maybe fascism's the way to go. I gobble up House Tully and House Aaron if I have to, and then, do my thing against everybody else. So Maybe we change them to democratic so that they become enemies easily for me. But let's boost this, see what happens. So I boosted civil discourse. There's a lot of little things you can do in the fascism on the rise tab for events and decisions. So I'm certainly going to start doing all of those things so we can give kind of a quick boost to fascism. The bottom line is the end result of this is that we want to unite the 7 kingdoms. And so there's a lot I still need to do in order to get there. But very quickly, we've got fascism up to 9%. It's a daily change of 0.1. So every couple of weeks, we're going to be going up by 1%. This is going to grow quickly. I'm actually going to stop my national focus because that's going to give me additional political power points quickly. And we're also going to stop with boosting. We're going to stop boosting the popularity of democracy in these places for now, just so we can get those points. All right, we're going to get jet engines. Not sure if that's something that's going to allow me to start building those just yet, but let's take a look. So we've just got to max out down to here first, and then we can start building jet fighters. So we're definitely going to do that. Let's see where things stand with fascism in my country. We're going to get Sansa in charge yet. It just might take a while. We're at 18%, but there's some things I can do to boost that. We're going to expand civil support, and every time I do that, of course, it drives down my stability, but it gets me in the place where I can do this more quickly. And I may have to go to a civil war to boost this along. I don't know. Hey, there's some good news. Arya Stark has returned to Winterfell 8 years later. She's eager for some military command, which we are certainly going to grant right now. Hey, Arya, welcome back. Nice to have you. Great to have you in charge of an army. Okay, so we finally have the new wall built. Looks like the Free Folk actually have pushed back a little bit, so it's nice they're keeping them occupied up there for me. We've got free civilian factories once again. I'm actually going to build up a couple of refineries so I can produce some more of my own oil. I don't have to trade for it. And then we've got to think about what else I want to do here. And I think right now what I'm looking at is maxing out my infrastructure in some of these places. Just long-term thought process with all of that. We've got our rocket site built, and there's really not a lot else I want to do right now. Maybe some more military factories down the road. All right, there's nuclear reactor. So that allows me to build, and now we're going to immediately start working on nuclear bombs as we construct reactors that'll produce those bombs. Every reactor that I have can produce 1 bomb a year. So we probably want to have a few at least. So I'm going to queue up 4 of those bad boys. And they're obviously going to take over my construction for quite a while because they're all going to take a while to build. Let's see, 15 May 1945, so it's going to take about 5 months to build each one. And let's see where we're at on fascism. All right, it's up to 27%, growing by 0.06 a day. And we can upgrade to Fighter 3s now. Let's take a look where we're at on. All right, we can now build jet fighters, even better. All right, so I hit prepare for civil war. That's going to allow us to start boosting things a little more. It's going to get me the ability to get the military support behind all of this. We can move things along faster. We're at 31% right now, but that makes me every bit as equal to the other factions that are existing right now. I don't think I want to quite ignite that civil war yet, but we're going to see what happens as this moves along. All right, now we've got a bunch more choices to make here. Expanding civil support, certainly one of them, but also expanding the military support. Fascist assault divisions form. Army command loyalty. Upper Army command loyalty. Siphoning equipment. Formulating a surprise attack plan. These are all important things. And then the only thing really left to do, we can keep siphoning equipment, and then once we get the points, go after Civil War. So I think that's what I'll do here. We'll see what happens with that. Okay. I just completed jet fighters, so I think that's about as far as we can go with that for now. So we're going to get our first jet fighters going. And we're about a week or two away from being able to start the Civil War. Okay, let's do this. Civil War in House Stark. I don't even see another side to this war. Is it pretty much just the one side? I don't know. Stark Civil War. Which side am I even on? I guess I'm on this side over here. I've got 74 divisions. The other side, not as many. So that's good news. I am well within the ability to finish this thing off. I don't even see... Oh, here's the area that we have to deal with. All right, not a problem. We just got to move the troops over to that border. Okay, so I'm moving my troops into position. I've got different armies assigned to different tasks. And even though they're not all in position, I'm going to go ahead and let them start going after those tasks. Arya's responsibility is to go after the Boltons. And we've got other armies assigned to the Karstarks. But the main thing really is just taking out the democracy area of Starks. The Tyrells are going to send 10 divisions to help out. The Lannisters, 7 divisions. Who would have thought that these folks would be helping Sansa Stark claim her territory? But that's exactly what's happening. Little do they know that once I gobble up the democracies in Westeros, I'm going to turn my attention on them as well so I can unite the 7 kingdoms. There's no love between fascists, but this is happening pretty quickly. 12,000 casualties compared to 91,000. This is what happens when you have a very technologically advanced force. I'm not even going to use my air power. I'm not going to worry about any of that. The Boltons only have 2 to 4 divisions. So, the Tyrells and Lannisters divisions have arrived. But I don't think I'm going to need them. This thing's going to end pretty quickly. I've lost 42,000 men. Obviously, that's a problem with the issues of manpower that I have. But now that I'm fascist, as soon as I have the political power available, I can make a change to my conscription laws that'll alleviate that issue. All right, folks, what are we waiting on here? I guess we can't go after them. They're not actually in this war. That's interesting. I expected they would be. So we'll bring all those armies down here to take Port Hornwood. Finish this thing off. 71,000 lost, so things kind of evened out somewhat compared to where they started out. I've lost about 10% of my fielded manpower. I've still got oil left, but it's going down. But the war should be over before I run out of oil. But that's something I'll have to think about for the future wars. Let's go down here and take this Widow Point. That's got some victory points there as well. All right, there it is. Easy win in the Civil War. And now we start to think about what comes next. But I'm actually going to wrap things up right there. I'm trying to keep these episodes nice and short so they're bite-sized pieces, easy for you to digest. And so now we have House Stark united under Sansa, who, just to let you in on a little secret, I think there's probably about a 20% chance that she ends up on the Iron Throne, married to Renly. Or Gendry, not Renly. Renly's dead. Gendry. So that's just kind of my out there theory. It may not come true, but who knows what happens. So that's where we're at, and now we start thinking about going after House Tully and House Aaron, consolidating our power, and then we think about uniting Westeros under one house, under Sansa Stark on the Iron Throne. So let me know your thoughts. Use that comment section below. Please hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Ding that little bell if you want to get notifications every time there's new content, and there typically is almost every day. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.